Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As promised, we would be coming to you live, talking to you about WrestleMania 38. Welcome to this very live edition of the 1, 2, 3 Wrestling Podcast. I, of course, am joined by my co-host Adam, who is out in California. Adam, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, even better. That was a great show. Ready to talk about it?
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It seems like the party's still going over at your place, so this is
Absolutely.
love it, love it. Well, I mean, here it's like coming up on 12:30, so it's 9:30 there. So your night's just starting. So, of course, we are here to talk about.
For joining me. It seems like the party's still going.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's all good. Adam's having fun with some technology over there. Of course, we are here to talk about WrestleMania and what just transpired tonight. Now, before we jumped on, I mean, we talked about some of the things we liked. We actually have some different things that we like. So I like this. It was interesting. So first of all, overall impressions of WrestleMania tonight. What did you think?
I thought it was good. That maybe a little long. I thought the entire night was great. I thought that if I could give it out of 10, I give it 8 out of 10 tonight.
Okay,
I thought it was great.
Okay, excellent.
How about you?
So I enjoyed it as well. I don't know if I'd go 8 out of 10. I'm a letter grade guy, so I would probably go like a C plus on tonight. Couple of reasons. Number one, unnecessarily long. WWE does a great job from a production value standpoint. We've talked about that before. It's probably where they have the edge over AEW. I think they overproduced tonight in the sense of every single match that was on tonight, we got the backstory, which is fine. But then every match tomorrow, we also got the backstory, which I understand because they're trying to promote tomorrow night as well. But here's the challenge. There were supposed to be, 8 matches on tonight. They ended up having to cut one because it was long. And it just seems crazy to me that we had a 2-hour pre-show, then a 4-hour WrestleMania event itself, and they still could only get through 7 matches. So to me, unnecessarily long. Now, that being said, let's talk about what we saw tonight. First of all, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What was the highlight of the night for you?
For me, it had to be Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I thought that Seth Rollins, there we go. He is now home. I thought that was Seth Rollins' best match in WWE yet.
Yeah.
The crowd popped like crazy. I think that's what really made this show. The crowd was hot tonight. I think by far they stole the show tonight.
Okay. Now, I don't have a graphic for this, but I have to tell you, for me, my highlight of the night was Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Here's the thing, right off the rip. I don't love the fact that Ronda Rousey comes into the Royal Rumble, wins, cuts the line, and gets to the main event of WrestleMania. I'll be clear. I don't love that. Now, to show my appreciation for it, I kind of have to take you back to, I think it was WrestleMania 35 when we had Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey in the triple threat. Originally, as you might recall, it was just supposed to be Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. They brought in Charlotte as well. I think the WWE was a little iffy on Ronda's wrestling capabilities at that time. I think Ronda did great in the match tonight. I love the drama that was developed. I think Charlotte is one of my top. Well, I think she's one of the top 3 female performers in the WWE right now. I think she's fantastic, and I just love the moment in the match where they're both tired, they're both looking at each other, and Charlotte's like, "This is my home." Like I love that. So I know we talked about it before we jumped on. You said that you felt that it went a little long and what have you. I really enjoyed that match. That would probably be my favorite. The Stone Cold coming back with Kevin Owens was great. Here's my thing, though. I think that should have been kind of like towards the middle of the card. I would have liked to have seen the ladies end the event. I also think that Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch put on a great match as well. Don't really know what was going on with Becky Lynch in the eye makeup, but I mean, that's just we'll leave that there. But I mean, WrestleMania comes out and people start doing crazy things, I guess. But I thought that match was also very good, and again, built up built up the drama, and really enjoyed it as well. So overall, I agree with you. I think it was a very good night. I think WWE puts on such a phenomenal show, and I don't know if they get enough credit for it for people who don't watch it. We're talking about just under 70, was it just under 78,000 people in AT&T Stadium who were treated to a phenomenal night of performances. What are some of the other things that stood out for you tonight?
Oh my goodness. I was expecting more out of Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. I thought that was a good match. I'm trying to think of what they could have done better. I mean, granted, a little long, and then until we jumped on, I didn't know or even catch that we got a match bumped off the show. And the New Day, you mentioned I didn't even remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's how it happened a few times before in the past.
Yeah.
And then trying to go back and try to remember, because I think I got lost in the Stone Cold Steve Austin show.
Yeah.
And then even then, that was kind of sad. I mean, it was fun to bring back some old memories, but it's sad to see like a shell of himself going out there and be so limber and take a little time to get warmed up.
Yeah. You see here, I'm gonna look at it this way. We saw the Undertaker take on Roman Reigns several years ago, and it was not a great match. The Undertaker will be the first person to tell you he did not perform well in that match. And then it was the following year he came back and he had his whole thing with Cena where he kind of ran through Cena and Cena laid out for him. Tonight, I kind of feel that even though I don't think anybody was looking at Stone Cold's loss against The Rock as terrible, I think he'd won the first two, and it was Rock was like, okay, dude, like I've taken it twice. You owe me one, right? You owe me a win here. So it's in Texas. Stone Cold comes out and what have you. I think that the whole production of that was a little wonky. I don't necessarily think that Stone Cold should be competing full time, of course, but I think it did a couple of things. Number one, Kevin Owens just showed that he's like just this consummate performer. He's fantastic on the mic. He knows how to turn heel, and he's great. And as I'm watching that, I'm thinking to myself, who wouldn't have done that? Who wouldn't have stepped into Kevin Owens' shoes? Roman Reigns.
No.
You just wouldn't have, right? So that kind of makes you, appreciate the work of Kevin Owens all the more. And it was a fun little nostalgia thing. WrestleMania usually want to send people off in a good mood, especially tonight, because I mean, I've yet to hear of anybody who's like, oh, I really, really like Brock or really, really like Roman. People are just kind of like, let's just get through it.
And I think we have enough on our plate with Roman Reigns already.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, of course, the main event tomorrow. And I can't say that I'm overly excited about it. I am thinking, though, night 2 has the potential of being better than night 1, even in spite of this main event that I can't speak for yourself, but I'm not overly excited about. So we'll see. But overall, I think again WWE did a fantastic job in terms of just being like the leader and being able to put on a show. There's while I might have my trouble with WWE from time to time, I do have to say they did put on a great show. Let's check out a couple of comments that we've got here. We've got Jay coming in with some ups and downs, C+, B- for me.
I can understand that completely. Absolutely. Yeah. It can go either way. Either it could be really high. I think I saw somebody post on Facebook that's the best WrestleMania they've ever seen. I rolled my eyes at that. I don't think that was the case at all. But to touch back on another match that I thought was okay and pretty good was the Logan Paul match.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. And I thought he did all right.
I'm not a Logan Paul fan per
neither
se,
am I.
No, but to give credit where credit is due, I agree with you. A lot of times, the celebrities come in and usually the celebrities win, but sometimes the celebrities don't, take the time to hone their skills. Logan Paul doesn't fall into that category. He had some sweet suplexes. I mean, the shimmy off of the top rope, and the frog splash. I think he did a great job. So very impressive.
Prepared, He came in prepared and didn't spit on what they do. He tried and he did well, I thought.
Yeah. Jay's checking out multiple platforms. First we got him on Facebook, now we got him on YouTube. I love it. Jump over to Twitch next, won't you? Okay, Jay coming in with, I like the new haircut. I don't think he's referring to us. I think he's talking about Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is fierce, man. I've got so much respect for her. And it was interesting seeing husband and wife losing in back-to-back matches. How about that?
Who lost better, Becky or Seth?
I would say Seth lost better because, I mean, Seth, of course, had the whole build-up. I want a match. I want to be part of Mania. And then Cody Rhodes comes back, and then he takes the L. So good on him. Listen, I don't know if we're still trying to figure out if this is going to be signed by tomorrow night. I'm hoping
they replace this with, for the New Day, they put this on instead.
Yeah, that would be something. So we'll see. I
gets
tease.
bumped for Will Smith.
Yeah, I tease. For anybody in the comments who was checking, or anybody out there watching right now, let us know in the comments if you watched WrestleMania tonight, and if so, what was your favorite match? Yeah, I liked it. Overall, tomorrow night we got a couple of interesting matches. Of course, the New Day against Sheamus and Ridge Holland was moved. So that
you think we see them tomorrow?
I think we see them in the pre-show.
Oh, and there wasn't any matches on the pre-show today, was there?
Unless they just ditch it all together.
Right.
But I think the New Day deserves better than that, quite frankly. Queen Zelina and Carmella defending their championships against Sasha Banks and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Natalya and Shayna Baszler. We were talking and saying we never saw the 4 horsewomen against the original 4 horsewomen, and I think that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn in an anything goes match. I don't know if they're going to staple each other or what have you, but we'll see. Pat McAfee and Austin Theory, which you, my friend, said you were looking forward to.
I am. I think that Pat McAfee, like even some of the friends that I had here, they're not excited, but I think he's gonna show out tomorrow. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, we got RK Bro against the Street Profits and the Alpha Academy, Edge and AJ Styles, which I think could be an instant classic. Omos, excuse me, I'm gonna get that right one of these days, against Bobby Lashley.
Wouldn't be sad if they cut that.
Yeah, and then of course Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. You mentioned earlier that you had a friend saying that they felt that this was the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Did I hear that correctly?
Just a post on a wrestling group.
Oh, it's a post? I'm sorry. Okay. I want to tell you what that is. That is a little thing I like to call recency bias. Absolutely. A lot of times you see something like that and it's like, oh, this is the latest. This must be the best. No, I don't subscribe to that.
I didn't do that at all.
And also, so tomorrow night, we are being told that this is going to be the greatest main event or the greatest wrestling match, at WrestleMania of all time. I guess this is supposed to be better than the end of an era with Triple H and The Undertaker. It's going to be better than Steamboat Savage. It's going to be better than Hogan and Andre, the Iron Man match, the original ladder match. Like, I don't know. I love the WWE's ability to sell things. The greatest ever. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
I'm over it already.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Yeah,
and
that is.
We already know what their outcome is going to be. I think, depending on what Brock's contract, status is, he's going to keep going on, or it just ends and Roman takes over. That's what I see.
Yeah. If you are just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stepping in. Do not adjust your set. We are not discussing movie reviews, which is usually what happens on my channel. No, tonight, Adam and I are discussing WrestleMania 38, Night 1. We're giving you a bit of a recap. If you saw it, feel free to chime in the comments. If you want to ask any questions or what have you, feel free to jump in. But that's what we're here for. I got to tell you that as we kind of look at the landscape, assuming that Roman Reigns wins tomorrow, I'm trying to think, okay, who would the next viable contender be? And I'm thinking it could be Drew McIntyre.
I think Drew had his run. I think, the pandemic really affected his push.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I felt really bad for that because he was red hot and, that didn't help at all. I don't know, to be honest. I think obviously with Cody back, I'm not sure what his schedule is going to be like, but I see him being a contender going forward.
I don't. If I'm being honest with you, I don't see him contending for a championship. Now, okay, here's my prediction for tomorrow night. And if this prediction is right, not only will it send people crazy with excitement, but it will also right a wrong. The wrong that I am talking about is the fact that Alexa Bliss is not on the WrestleMania card. She wasn't on today. She's not scheduled to be on tomorrow. Imagine if in the main event, let me put this out here. Imagine if in the main event tomorrow, the lights go out, Bray Wyatt comes out, because we know he's in Dallas. He comes out with Alexa Bliss and costs Roman Reigns the title. Why would he cost Roman Reigns the title? Do you remember when Roman Reigns came back in, I think it was at SummerSlam, and he turned heel? Who did he win the belt off of? Bray Wyatt. So that's the Keith Whittier prediction. Will it happen? I don't know. If it does, I come off like a genius. And if it doesn't, no one will,
if it does, this podcast takes off.
Right? All right. Jay is back with another comment. He is settling on YouTube, by the way. He did try out Facebook, but apparently likes YouTube more. That injury to Boogs looked rough. It appears to be a legitimate knee quad injury. Thank you for bringing that up, Jason. I have to tell you, when I saw that at first, I just thought it was like, I thought it was
a work.
I thought it was a work. I thought, okay, he's just faking an injury and just to kind of like get it over. But then you realize, no. Although the only thing that was weird was that they carried him out as opposed to putting him on a stretcher. So, but I don't know. I
thought it was a work. I thought Uso actually botched that spot with, I think he jumped on one side.
Yeah.
And then caused it to collapse. And then I think Boog just went to the knee to kind of make it look legit.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was like a work. My friends here say that. I think it was a legit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like it after a while that it was legit, but then when McAfee was like, "Oh, he'll be back in no time," and the comeback, like, if that's a quad injury, he's not going to be back in no time. He's going to be back like in a year. Like, settle down. No delay on YouTube, we're told. So there you go. So come in on YouTube. Listen, let me be clear, Jay. I don't care if you're coming in on YouTube or whatever. If you're using a fax machine, we're just happy to have you. So we appreciate it. By the way, I don't know if you've seen pictures, but Jason O'Dale is another man with a shaved head. So I'm telling you, the shaved head community in this group is just taken over. And just so you know, we don't discriminate. If you don't have a shaved head, we'll accept you. We'll take you as you are. We're a loving.
We'll take you with a Becky Lynch haircut.
Yeah. So, yeah. Overall, I think it was a good night. Like I said, my biggest criticism was it just ran longer than I think it needed to. As I go through these matches tonight, Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin. The only thing I will tell you is because I do appreciate one of the things that the WWE does is that it gives people the opportunity who haven't been watching to catch up with like their kind of like mini previews of each match. I just don't think they needed to do it for every match tomorrow because that's what their 2-hour pre-show tomorrow's for. But anyways, I like the whole Happy Corbin gimmick, how you have a guy who was like down on his luck financially and then he goes to Vegas and he wins money. These are funny storylines. I like the Miz turning on Logan Paul.
I like that.
It looks like Logan Paul's going to stay around for a little bit, but I don't like that. And I don't think Logan Paul's going to get over with the fans. Bianca Belair. We were, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, Bianca, you cannot cry at the beginning of every WrestleMania match. And it looked like that's where we were going tonight. But again, a great performance. And I really appreciate that match tonight because it looked like Becky was going to score a really quick victory like she did at SummerSlam. And then they dragged it out into a good match that went on for like 20 minutes or so. So that was good. We've talked a lot about Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Charlotte Flair and Rousey was great. The Stone Cold one, again, that could have been earlier on in the card, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
I'm trying to think. That Stone Cold thing, I mean, I saw a lot of it on Facebook, that people were glad that he's back, but the movement of him, and he took some hard bumps on the ground, and we were making fun because every time he had to walk down, he got the ATV. He had to go up, he took the ATV.
The man is 50. The man is 57 years old, and he has had an exhausting wrestling career. So, guy needs a cart. People go golfing in their retirement, and they're using carts. So I'm not going to give Stone Cold a hard time about it. You know what I did think was funny? What I thought the line of the night was when Kevin Owens challenges him to the match and says, "Listen, you've got bad knees, you got a bad back, you got a bad neck, but other than that, you're fine."
You're fine.
Other than that, you're good. Let's go.
Hey, how many beers do you think he took in?
Oh, a lot. A lot.
So we were on the lookout all over for that Broken Skull American Lager, and I could not
Okay.
find it anywhere. But we did
Yeah.
happen to score some IPAs tonight, and one of those got, it'll get me buzzed quick, and he's taking 24 to the head. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, they're like sips, big gulps, and one and dones.
Here's the wonderful thing about our friend Stone Cold. So he takes the beer, he brings it together, and then he pours it, but most of it's not going into his mouth.
Absolutely not.
Right. So that's the thing there. And the other thing too is Stone Cold's kind of lazy. Do you notice if they throw it to him, if he doesn't catch it, there's only
goes.
one. They're just okay, whatever. Give me another one. So it's Stone Cold. Here's the deal. I honestly feel that if this WrestleMania was in any other market, we wouldn't have seen Stone Cold. It was like a nod and a love letter to Texas, and that's what it was. The Undertaker got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I want to talk to you about that briefly. Who of course is from Texas. We had like Booker T's wife, Charmel, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Texas tie, bringing in Stone Cold. So it's like when back in the day when wrestling would come to Canada, Bret Hart had to be on the card, and not just on the card, but in the main event. Not so much now, obviously, but back then that's how it was. So yeah, let's talk about this. Last night, Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame didn't disappoint.
Yeah, so Undertaker obviously stole the show last night at the Hall of Fame, and I wanted to get your thoughts. What did you think of the Hall of Fame, and specifically, what did you think of the Undertaker's presentation?
Hall of Fame, I thought was great. I thought that you could tell it was edited, a lot. But I think that each person got maybe like 5 minutes, and poor Rick Steiner got like a 30 seconds on the microphone because his brother took all the time.
Yeah.
So that was good to see. As far as the Undertaker goes, I think that was pretty cool. 45 minutes of talking was a bit long there, but he deserved every single minute. I'm sure he demanded all that time. There were onions being cut last night. I'm sure of it, all across the world. So
I don't cry. It's onions.
They were all onions.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought he did a good job. And dude, did you see Noelle Foley? She posted that she was a little upset that he didn't mention her dad.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. And the thing too is that the challenge with these moments, not like I've ever been inducted to a Hall of Fame, but I've seen my share of acceptance speeches. The fear is that you forget somebody or you don't mention somebody and what have you.
It's a pretty big name.
But here's the deal though. I would also put Vince in there, not to but listen, let's be clear about something. The Undertaker speech was fantastic.
Absolutely.
But he's reading from a script. Like, let's be clear about that. This wasn't like off the top of his head. You and I are flying without a net right now. We don't have. I can't speak for you, but I don't think you have a script in front of you.
I wish I did sometimes.
Yeah, I brought up the matches so I can remember everything that I saw, and we'll refer to it and we'll talk about it. When the Undertaker was speaking, he would look to this way, he'd look this way, and then he'd be like right here, and then he'd be reading, and he'd be going, and so he was definitely in on the teleprompter, which is fine, but. It's unfortunate that he didn't mention Mick Foley. I missed that myself. Here's what my takeaway from the Hall of Fame. Again, and we talked about this in our pre-show. He is probably the most deserving inductee into the Hall of Fame. And that could sound like recency bias, but I mean, in terms of when you look at WrestleMania, to me, WrestleMania for years was about, okay, who's the Undertaker taking on? Who's the Undertaker going up against? Right. As opposed to who's the championship match, right? I would have hated to have been in the championship match if I was following an Undertaker match at WrestleMania. And as I'm watching this, first of all, this man who we have seen, compete in the ring for years, spoke more last night than he spoke over his entire career. Part of the mystique about him is that whole mentality of like giants don't talk, monsters don't talk. But we got taken to school last night with his presentation.
He said when he first started that, and out of respect for us, that's why he did that, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm thinking about as I'm watching him is like he could legit have a career going to like companies and doing motivational speaking and things of that. And that might sound like ridiculous. Like, Keith, what are you talking about? Everything that he was talking about last night is legit. Like in terms of you've got a guy who's like at the top of his game in the company and more respected than probably any other superstar, and he's talking about it's all about how you treat people and how you respect people, right? And he's talking about trying really hard, not giving up, and not living above your means. I really enjoyed his presentation, and I can't call it an acceptance speech. I'm calling it a presentation because that's what I thought it was. So I thought it was great. He's earned that level of respect where he could go on and on for a while, and it was very surreal just to kind of see him like out of character and just having a full on conversation. So it was
really
very cool. Jay, I like that he started by saying he was speaking as Mark and telling his story. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Sometimes it's nice to break away with that fourth wall, and it's nice to see somebody break away with a fourth wall and not talk about, with all due respect, I have cancer or I'm retiring or I hurt my neck. It's just like, hey, I want to talk to you about my time in this business. So I really respected that. I really appreciated that. And I think it was probably one of the better inductee speeches that we've seen. I got to tell you, do you remember JJ who got the Warrior Award years ago?
JJ.
Little kid.
Oh, yeah. They did all the interviews.
Yeah. He still has, though, he probably has the best one-liner at a Hall of Fame induction speech, which was the WWE has always made me feel like a VIP and treated me like a celebrity and made me feel like a WWE superstar. And at this point, I probably have a better chance of getting a WrestleMania match than John Cena, because that's what John Cena was campaigning so hard to get a match with Undertaker, and he wasn't able to, or so we thought. So, yeah. But no, I enjoy the Hall of Fame. I think it's a good opportunity to pay respect to the people who've kind of like come and paved the way, and I appreciate that.
I went to the one when it was out here for when we went to that WrestleMania that year. Those shows go long.
Yeah,
those shows go like 4 hours.
Well, some of the speeches go on forever, and people just don't know when to stop talking. So,
right,
yeah. So, for those of you who this is the first time you're checking out Adam and I, and you're wondering if this like a coalition of the shaved-headed brothers, close. What this actually is kind of I guess a reunion of sorts. So happy anniversary, my friend.
Yes.
Back at WrestleMania 31, Adam and I met during the festivities, and we have stayed in touch ever since. We have started something called the 1, 2, 3 Wrestling Podcast. Usually at 2 you kick out, you don't, you come for the full 3 with us. And our goal is to come and talk to you about things that are happening in the wrestling world. We are heavily focused on WWE this week, because of course it's WrestleMania weekend. But as the weeks go on, we are going to be giving equal attention to AEW, talking about some of the differences between the two promotions, what we like, what we don't like. We want to hear what you guys want to talk about as well. But that's basically what you're checking out right now.
And I'm sure AEW is going to be full of surprises in the upcoming weeks after what happened tonight.
Yeah. And here's an interesting thing. So let's be very clear about something. AEW does to some point influence what we see in WWE. For example, last year, I would say the biggest event that happened in wrestling was, of course, the return of CM Punk to AEW. Not his returning to AEW, but him returning to wrestling and choosing to go to AEW. That happened on a Friday night. The same night that happened, the same weekend that happened was SummerSlam. Well, what happened on SummerSlam? Vince McMahon jumped on the phone and got some chartered jets, and he brought in Brock Lesnar, and then he brought in Becky Lynch, who of course came in and won the championship. Right. So you again, I don't believe that if those individuals hadn't come back, if CM Punk hadn't come back, we don't see those individuals, not specifically that weekend. It's like Vince on breastfeeding right now. No, Becky, put the baby down. I need you. So
now,
I need right now. Get here now. So it'll be interesting to see, what WWE does, of course, going forward, because WrestleMania is always a reset to the product, and it's kind of like a season finale, if you will. Some storylines end, and then we go on and we start new ones. So we'll see where we go from here.
We got tomorrow, and we got the night after WrestleMania, Raw, and AEW after that, and with our talks going in AEW soon, and it's gonna be fun, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just getting started.
I'm telling you, this is just the infancy of this. I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited to be able to to chat with you on a regular basis about all things wrestling. I think we can put a pin in tonight.
Absolutely. I know it's late up there.
Yeah. So, but you know what? It's good. I got the kind of the WrestleMania hyperness. I'll probably
we get to do it again.
We're gonna get to do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it again tomorrow night. So again, right after or shortly thereafter, night 2, we'll be jumping back on and we'll be doing a recap. And then of course we'll recap night 2 and we'll talk about which night did we like more, night 1 or night 2.
Absolutely.
Hang on 1 second.
I love this.
Do we see the return of Asuka or Bayley on Monday Night Raw? Jason,
I think we see Bayley
coming in hot. Let me tell you, one of the things is we always see major returns on the Raw after WrestleMania. And Bayley, I think, has been gone longer than Asuka. I could be mistaken.
I think she has.
Yeah, but I definitely think we see some major returns on Monday.
I think Bayley for sure.
Asuka, Bayley. If my $1 million prediction of Alexa Bliss showing up tomorrow night doesn't happen, she could be on Raw. But
maybe.
Yeah. So after tomorrow, we'll talk more. After seeing tomorrow's event, we'll talk more about that. Hang on a second. I'm getting something right now.
Oh my God. Let it go.
Hang on. I'm getting a my imaginary producer I thought was in my ear telling me about this potentially being signed, but no, not yet. We'll see. Maybe it's going to be there tomorrow. Like I can hope. All right. To Jason and everyone else who's checking this out tonight, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are going to be back tomorrow night talking about night 2. Of course, the headliner, which you are supposed to believe is the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. I say nay. I say it's something we've seen multiple times, and none of those times did it ever become the most. Adam, wake up! I'm sorry, I'm talking about that, but wake up. We're almost done. He's not falling asleep because he's tired. He's falling asleep because he's seeing this for the umpteenth time. But thank you guys so much for checking this out. We really do appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow night, as we said, breaking down night 2 of WrestleMania, and then of course we're going to do a deep dive in which night we enjoyed more, and we might even do a ranking of like our top 3 and bottom 3 WrestleMania moments. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Have yourselves a great night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for checking out this live episode of the 1, 2, 3 Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate it, and we'll chat with you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.